Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of 20 Questions with. In this episode, it is 20 Questions with Darren Altman, award-winning voice actor, impressionist and presenter, also does stand-up, always performing at comedy clubs, corporate and charity events all around the United Kingdom, a semi-finalist at Britain's Got Talent in 2016, and a good friend of mine, Darren Altman. Darren, welcome to the channel. How are you?
Well, first of all, you've just earned your 15% there. Thank you so much. I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm very well. It's a pleasure having you back. Of course, you're a regular on this channel, on the Spurs Chat podcast, but we've never got the chance to really get to know you. So I would love the viewers and the listeners to really get to know you. I'm going to ask you 20 questions today. Some of them are going to be on Spurs. Some of them are going to be on your career. Some of them are going to be funny, some serious, and there's a couple of awkward ones in there as well. And hopefully at the end of the stream, we'll get some of the viewers sending in some of their questions for you as well. But let's kick it off. What was it like being on Britain's Got Talent in 2016? Of course, you got through to the semi-finals. What judges and what other contestants have you kept in touch with?
I didn't have a history on stand-up. A lot of the people that you see on there, they say like they're chefs and they're fitness instructors and all this, and they're teachers. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them would have been doing it for sort of like 10 years or however long. I had no history in stand-up. So I basically put a video on YouTube of how to do celebrity impressions, and a little sort of behind the scenes is that yes, you can audition, but they've got researchers and sort of like scouring for talent, and they saw this video of me showing how to do, and they came to me and they said, would you do Britain's Got Talent? And I thought about it and I said, no, thanks. I said, it's my job. I'm a voiceover. The jeopardy of going on there and bombing wouldn't be the smartest career move. So I said, no. Then they came back a year later and asked me again. And I thought, do you know what? Just go for it. Like you only live once. So I did it. I had no experience of stand up. I had to go into clubs and learn how to do, perform. And when I did it, I was so nervous. You can see me like fiddling with my thumb ring. I was so nervous. But I did it, and I did well, and I got through to the semi-finals. I can't really watch it back now because all my impressions have developed so much. Yeah. The Boris and the Gordon Ramsay have just sort of come on leaps and bounds, like the Alan Sugar and all that. But it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was funny. The longer I performed for, the more the laughter came and the more adrenaline was shooting through my veins. So by the time I was doing Gordon Ramsay, hey, big boy, I was standing up, and my cousin who was in the audience said, you were getting air, Darren. You were like clearing the floor. So it was an unbelievable experience. Do I keep in touch with you? Don't mix with them, Chris. You don't sort of hang out in green rooms, and that's not how it works. What I saw of them, apart from sort of being interviewed by Ant and Deck, sorry, Ant, and Deck, that's right. Ant and Deck, you don't really see them, so you don't hang out. So my only interaction with Simon Cowell and David Walliams and Leisha and what have you was what you saw on TV, really.
Darren, give me 3 interesting things about you that people perhaps don't know about you.
Oh, I like walks in the rain and men that aren't afraid to cry. No, so before being a voiceover and impressionist, I was a drummer. That's what I did for a living. And I studied at Leeds College of Music, the Guildhall School of Music. I used to play at Ronnie Scott's. I would play at Abbey Road, record music for TV, films. I'm in a lot of films, yeah. If this sounds like clang, but I've been in films with Hugh Grant, Meryl Streep. I've recorded with Anne Hathaway. There's a film she did called, what was it? It was like a fantasy, Ella Enchanted. And she does a version of Somebody to Love. That's me on drums. Darren Hayes from Savage Garden did a song. That's me on drums. So I was a drummer for years and used to play and gig and tour all around the world. That's what I did. What else? Oh, here's a strange fact. I haven't done it in a while, but I studied hypnosis. Like, I was a hypnotist. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I know. And I could put someone, I used to study what they called speed trance. There's videos of me on YouTube. I don't know if they're locked down or you can see them. Well, we used to go, this is 20 years ago, and a load of us used to meet up in Covent Garden and go for drinks. And then we all used to film each other, putting tourists and punters under hypnosis. And I've got videos of me sticking someone's hand to a table and say, the more you move it, the more you try and move it, the more it sticks. The more you try and move it, it sticks. Stuck. That's right, it's stuck. And I used to get 50 quid out my pocket, put it on the table and say, you can touch that, it's yours. And I used to count down from 10 till 1, and you would see them shaking, but they couldn't get it. And then I would take the 50 quid and I would go, and when I touch your head, your arms raised, you're free as a bird now. And they would go, oh. I would make people forget their own names. The more you try and think of the name, the further away it goes. That's right. The more you try and think of the name, the further away it goes. Over there in the distance. What's your name? It's gone. What's your name? And they would go. It would go. Mind blowing. Yeah. Bizarre.
Sounds fantastic. One more?
One more. What else? Oh, here's a one that's just come to mind. I was such a bad driver when I don't know why I'm telling you this. When I used to go for gigs, Chris, I used to leave everything to the last minute and be really aggressive. I used to be a dreadful driver. Always used to turn up late. I always used to get points. And at one point, I don't know why this has come, God almighty. At one point, I had 13 out of 12 points on my license and I was still driving. I had to go to court. I wore a suit and tie. The judge was Jewish. He had a couple on. So I went in there and I said, listen, you've got to be lenient. It's my job. And so he fined me, gave me 4 extra points. And I was driving with 13 points on my license. That's a fun fact. I've got
how's that even possible?
Because he was lenient. I told him it was my living. Like I had to have my drums. If I couldn't drive, I'd have no work. I couldn't support my family. Not that I had a family. So he was really lenient and he let me off. I had to pay a fine and he gave me, I think I was on 9 and he gave me 4 points, which put me on 13, fined me and told me to do one.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Darren, you do so many impersonations of lots of different celebrities. Have you ever upset anyone?
That's a good question. I got a tweet from Dara once, who wasn't very happy because I put something out and he was like, you know, the mock the week, that's right, that's right, that's what I used to do, Dara OBrien, that's right, that's grand, and he wasn't very happy with that. But apart from that, no, I need to sort of tone down my stand-up because I do sort of go in quite hard with certain celebrities. And a comedian told me, listen, if you were on a gig with so-and-so and they were standing in the wings, would you feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
Said, probably not. And that was quite good advice. But I go in sort of quite hard on celebrities, actually. But he was the only one I can think of, really, that's ever sort of said, yeah, not that cool.
What did he say to you?
I don't know. He tweeted me. And I think I may have even tagged him. This was years ago, and he said, "Yeah, don't tag me, no need." And he wasn't, very happy, which was quite. I thought I was trying to get a retweet. Can I get a retweet? Yeah. So yeah. Silly thing to do, really.
Darren, let's come on to talk about Spurs. Why Tottenham for you, and what was your first ever game that you went to?
Why Tottenham? My dad, God rest his soul, lost him in 2001, grew up in Stamford Hill and Stoke Newington. Used to go to a school called, what was it, Daniel Defoe, Kazenov Road, Stoke Newington. And so, yeah, so that was the reason. He was just down the road from, obviously round the corner from the high road. And it was always Tottenham, really. I've got 2 sets of cousins. My cousins, funnily enough, on my dad's side are all the other lot, and I've got cousins on my side who are Spurs, and needless to say, I get on better with the cousins on my mum's side. But yeah, it was basically because my dad just grew up just down the road from Spurs. And my first game, I went with my cousin Phil's dad, my uncle Len. It was Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest. I think it was 1985. And the reason I remember that is because I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I've ever been to a stadium before. And I was suddenly in White Hart Lane. And I remember them playing Never Ending Story or Electric Dreams. So it was 1985. I think we beat them 1-0 and Mark Falco scored, I think. Yeah. But it was 1985. It was a little while. I think I must have been 12 or 11, 12, something like that.
You never ever forget your first game.
No.
What's your favourite memory supporting Tottenham?
Oh God. Well, my favourite recent memory was obviously the semi-final against Ajax. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was on my own here watching it. I think my girls were up in bed, and I ran round the room. I couldn't shout. I didn't know what to do, and then I said to Emma, I'm going out. And I ran to the pub at the end of the road on my own and just sat there with shaking and crying, watching all the feedback and all the the aftermath of it on my phone, just drinking pints on my own, which I would never do. The Leicester game recently, where we came from behind. What was the score of that? Is it 3-2 or something? Where we came from behind. We beat Leicester.
Oh, Steven Bergwijn,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was unbelievable. If we go back further, the Gaza free kick in the semi-final, and a very special memory, which I sort of have vague memories of watching it, was the 1981 FA Cup final. Ricky Villa, still Ricky Villa, because it was such an event. When I was a little boy, the FA Cup final, I used to have all my friends round and my mum would do tea, and it would start at 11, 12, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it would go all the way through. You'd have the wrestling on beforehand. And so I have vague recollections of that 81 final. Yeah.
When you just started doing a bit of commentary then, this isn't one of the questions, by the way, but I'm just going to throw this in. Have you ever thought about doing football commentary? Because of what you do, it's probably in the area, isn't it?
I mean, voiceovers, you're reading really, but football commentary, it's a skill. I wouldn't ever say just because I do voiceovers, and he passes it to, I mean, I do a lot of football commentators as part of, you'll hear me on a lot of ads. And I've got a few on my show reel. But no, I wouldn't ever sort of profess to having that much talent and skill. It's a different ball game. You have to paint pictures.
Darren, you obviously do lots of different types of jobs. What do you enjoy doing most? And can you give us an insight into what it's like doing stand-up?
That's an interesting question. I was talking to someone recently, and some of my happiest memories are being behind my drums, playing like with a big band or with my friends. With a big band, you've got like 5 trumpets, 5 saxes, 4 trombones, guitar, piano, bass, drums. And you're just there, like you're the rhythm section, you're the engine, and it's just such an amazing feeling. And being with loads of friends, that was incredible. I love doing voiceovers and impressions because I get to use my ear, I get to be creative. Not if you're, have got 5 pages on health and safety on an oil rig. That's quite dry. I remember, Chris, I had to read like 2 pages on the B3 Court 147B spring valve. Oh, fuck me, like what am I doing with my life? But some of it can be really dry. And stand up, I still get really nervous. I don't do it as much as I should. I should be out doing it more, but for me, it's quite nerve-wracking because I'm not the world's greatest writer, and I don't think my stuff, it needs to be funny. You don't want an audience going, well, that sounds like Gordon Ramsay, well done. You want them to be laughing, and if they're not laughing, you can sort of lose your nerve a bit on stage. When they're laughing, it's an amazing adrenaline rush. It's a good feeling, but for me, I need to be more comfortable with the stand-up, I think.
Who's your favourite comedians? Who makes you laugh?
Bloody hell. I like everyone. I like everyone from Ricky Gervais is funny, Stuart Lee, Frankie Boyle, but then I like Tim Vine, who's one-liners, or Gary Delaney. Funny is funny, I think. So yeah, it really depends. Rich Hall's good. You know the American guy, Rich Hall? He's a funny geezer. Yeah. Frankie Boyle's funny. He's dark. He goes there. He's good.
Well, here's one for you. If you had the Spurs board, Daniel Levy, all of the Tottenham staff and players in front of you, and you were doing stand-up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, what joke or story would you tell them for a guaranteed laugh?
Oh my word. What joke or story would you tell them? I don't know. I'd probably trot out my Glenn Hoddle. That might make them laugh, as I say. He's put a ball into a wonderful area, as I say, and he'll be happy with that. And he's got those lovely firm thighs, glistening in that sunshine, beautiful legs, as I say, wonderful hair, and I don't know.
Darren, what's the best goal? What's the best Tottenham Hotspur goal you've ever seen?
With my own eyes.
Yeah.
With my own eyes. Oh my God. That free kick's got to be the Gaza free kick. The Glenn Hoddle, the chip and the thing. Was that against Oxford?
He did score a great goal against Oxford. He also scored a great goal against Watford.
Yes. Yeah. Ask Ricky about Watford. So yeah. What else was there? Some of the goals that Bale scored, Taxi for Neymar, unbelievable. I don't know if we'll come on to him later, but yeah, I've got a soft spot for Gareth Bale. I just think he's unbelievable talent. Yeah.
Well, if you were on a desert island for a week and you had to take 3 items and a former Spurs manager, which items and what manager?
Oh God, I'd have to have something to do. 3 items. I can't live without music. So it would be Spotify, because you've just got access to absolutely everything. So some sort of Spotify. What other thing would I take? I would probably. Oh no, I can't say that. That's not cool. I would probably take my daughters. Why not? Because why not? I'd like to have them with me. I would take. Probably are we allowed to take an endless supply of wine, of red wine? That might be nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you have that one.
Some red wine. That'd be nice. And a boat, just in case I want to bugger off out of the island.
No, you've had your 3 already. It's got to be now a former Spurs manager with you. Who would you choose?
Manager. Probably choose Keith Birkinshaw, actually, because I sort of those 2 FA Cups, the City and QPR, showing my age now, but just what it would like to work with that quality of players, because we were in our pomp then. That's when Spurs had a bit of pride, and we were Tottenham Hotspur. So I'd probably take him and sort of ask him to sort of regale, some stories and his idea about what was the actual Tottenham ethos, because that's when we had an ethos and a style and a way of playing. You talk about the Tottenham, you talk about the Tottenham DNA. That's when we had a bit of character. So I'll probably take Keith Birkinshaw.
Well, we won trophies and challenged on a regular basis. Darren, if you could go out on a night out with any current Spurs player, who would you choose and why?
Oh, wow. I thought of one popped straight into my head, but he's not current. Because he would...
Actually, give me a current one and a next one.
Okay, let's do a current one. You see, Son and Kane, they'd be great. Sonny would be wonderful, but he wouldn't tear the arse out of it. So you'd be drinking, and he'd just sort of keep it quite quiet. Who would I think Bentancur might be a bit of a laugh. I think he might like. Yeah, he's got a bit of attitude. I think I'd like to take Rodrigo Bentancur with me. Yeah. I think he'd be yeah. And if you got into trouble, he'd help you out. So that'd be good as well. From the past, Gaza, obviously, it would be a hoot. You'd end up in jail, but it'll be a hoot.
There's always a story there.
Yeah.
Darren, if you could bring back one Spurs player from the past in his prime to play for the current team, who would it be? Who's been your favourite players over the years?
You're going to have a lot of answers on this. I mean, in terms, I can only say one. I think.
Well, give me a few.
Okay, I would think. The one that I do love is Gareth Bale. I just think that what he had and what he brought was just amazing. The speed, the power, and when he was in his pomp, it was virtually unplayable when he was in his pomp. Obviously, later on, he dipped, but I'm a massive fan of Bale. Glenn Hoddle, again, I just thought what he did, what I witnessed as a schoolboy, there was no one else. Like the ball stuck to him like glue. The passing and the vision and the skills. I would say that he was the sort of first flair player that I ever saw, in terms of like just that level above. You had sort of great players and players that could pass and score, but he had a bit of extra that X factor that I hadn't seen before. So it would be those two, I think, who would arguably sort of again typify what it means to play for Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Darren, we know you like to swear. You're always swearing on this channel. If you could only use one swear word for the rest of your life, what one would it be?
Do I really like to swear, Chris? Do I? I mean, have you thought about this? Have I? What?
It's spoken about a lot.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Perhaps it's because I don't swear on this channel.
You don't.
And when people like you come on and F and blind, it's very noticeable.
Right. Well, I need to curb my kin language, don't I? I think you cannot see the word fuck has got so many, fuck that. He's fucking great. I'll tell you what, he tore the fucking arse out of it. It can be, fuck off. There's so many different. It can use as a verb, as a noun, as an adjective. I think it's so flexible and malleable. So I think we'll stick with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quite like horse arse as well while we're there.
Darren, if you could be invisible for a day, who would you spy on?
Oh God! Wow, my ex. What
about someone Tottenham related? Who would you like to spy on for the day?
I'd like to spy on Daniel Levy and just work out and be in some of his negotiations and just be in like a manager chat just to find out what the bleed nail's going on, because he's so elusive. He doesn't do interviews. There's an interview that's just come out recently, which is the sort of one of the first times I've ever seen him sit down and answer questions. I'd like to spy on Daniel Levy and just think, really? Is that what you think? Really? We're not gonna sign him? Really? And £6.50 a pint of his one of our own. Really, Daniel? I'd like to spy on him.
Darren, Spurs to win the Carabao Cup or England to win the World Cup?
The Carabao, specifically the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, a trophy.
Well, I mean, I heard you ask Ricky a similar question, but I
asked him about the Champions League. I'm asking you the Carabao Cup. I've brought it down because, of course, we haven't won a trophy for 15 years. How important is it, you being a Spurs fan, to see trophies, even if it is a Carabao Cup?
It's absolutely important. It's absolutely important. But I mean, it's the Carabao Cup, isn't it? And England to win the World Cup. I mean, I'm Tottenham, so it would have to be the Carabao Cup, because that would be on the CV, and it would be another one that we could chalk off. I mean, England. Why is that funny?
Well, because you were dissing my question, and you've gone on Carabao Cup.
I know, because it's a trophy, and it's 15 years, for the love of God. Yeah. I mean, and we would still, everyone else, if we won the Carabao Cup, we'd still be the laughing stock. Oh, look at you, you won a cup. Yes, you did. But to us, the Spurs fans, it'll be like, yeah, thank you very much. We'll have that.
A trophy is a trophy.
Trophy is a trophy.
Darren, I know from your social media that you like to cook and you like a glass of wine, and you've already mentioned wine on this stream so far. What dish are you most proud of cooking, and what's your favourite wine?
Right, I like a good Rioja, a fruity Rioja. I like a nice Malbec, if you don't mind. Back to the Argentinian theme, Chris. So yeah, I like a nice red wine, a good Rioja, like a Gran Reserva. What dish would I like to cook? I love a curry. I like cooking a curry slow in the slow cooker. You have to do the onions and the garlic first, and then you can put it in the slow cooker and the ginger, and then put all the herbs and spices and let it marinate, or put it in a pot and let it sort of do its thing. But yeah, a curry's great. Really, quite like it hot. I'm a sort of Dansak man. What about you?
Yeah, I don't mind a curry. Yeah. On the wine choice, I'm surprised it wasn't a Lambrini or a Blue Nun.
Jesus. Wow. Wow. Do I use that much class? Oh, yeah. Lambrini in a basket. No, lovely.
I said to Ricky on the other edition that I like a steak. He liked a steak, but we like our steaks well done. And I quite often get criticised. And of course, Gordon Ramsay would have a fit. You're telling him you want your steak well done. Chefs don't like that.
Oh, my God. Why don't you just take off its horns and wipe its fucking ass? That steak is pinker than my grandma's fucking lipstick. Yeah, well done. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
No well done steaks?
No, medium rare, absolutely. Yeah.
Who's the most famous person you've had dinner with?
Oh, wow. Had dinner with? Oh my God. See, I don't mix in those circles, Chris. Like, I don't mix in celebrity circles.
Oh, okay, let me ask you a different question then. Who's the most famous person in your phone book?
Most famous person in my phone book?
You must have a few famous people in your phone book.
Do you know what, Chris? I don't. And don't get the illusion that just because I've done Britain's Got Talent or something, you know, I can call up Simon Cowell and go, Si, that's your cheeky laugh. That's not, you know, that's not how it works. I genuinely do. I mean, I've got sort of voiceover friends and actors, but no one that is of that level. I mean, like I say, if you want some clangs, I've had conversations and been in a film with Meryl Streep and Hugh Grant and Jeffrey Rush.
Here they come. Come on, keep them coming.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, you know, I call her Meryl. That's the sort of relationship. Yeah. It's the sort of relationship we've got. No, I don't have famous contacts in my phone book, really. Not anyone of note. I'm not in those circles, Chris. Thank you, bless you for thinking that I am, but I'm not.
Okay. Apart from football, what other sports do you like watching?
I don't mind. Funnily enough, I don't mind golf, but I've never hit a ball in my life, really. I like golf because it's relaxing, and I like watching the US Open because it's absolutely stunning. You know, if you're watching Augusta, you know, on a beautiful summer's day, I could sit and watch golf for hours. Never hit a golf ball, or if I have, it's gone. But yeah, I don't mind watching golf, actually. Yeah.
We've got to have a game of golf one day, Darren.
Do you play?
I play. Craig Dearman's a good golfer as well. I think that yeah, we ought to arrange that.
Not with me, you wouldn't. You'd be there till sundown. Me in the bushes, like, hold on.
Wary.
Yeah. Getting kicked off. I've done all right, though.
Yeah.
Done all right today. Done all right. You know, I'm curbing it.
I'll say no. You can't kick him out. He's been in the film with Meryl Streep. We'll be fine.
There you go.
Darren, having your phone taken away for a week or not using social media platforms for a year?
That's a really good question.
Because you're really big on social media. You're on social media a lot, aren't you?
Well, I am, because of my business, and I have to sort of, as wanky as this sounds, I sort of have to keep up a profile. But I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I deleted that because it was just obsessing too much. But it's being serious for a second. I just think, like, for your mental health, you can really go down an alley and a route that isn't healthy. So as much as it's a business tool, and as much as I've got like a good follow, I've got like 365,000 followers on TikTok, and I barely use it now. It's silly. I need to create more content, but I think it can play with your head. All the sort of, I don't know what you're like. I think you've got a good relationship with it, but me, I'm a bit of a, you know, checking likes, refreshing the page, who's engaged with it. You can just drive yourself mad. So as much as it's a necessity, I probably have to stick with the social media and bin the phone for a week or so.
Has social media ever affected you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I went through a pretty dark time of just obsessing with it and seeing other impressionists and voiceovers and what they're up to, and gone down a, you know, and obsessing, like I say, checking and not using it properly, like being quite abrupt and abrasive and just being bit of a dick. But I've sort of, sorry, there's things. So I've tried to be just a nice, in the last couple of years, I've tried to sort of take a deep breath and thought, don't post that, Darren, like that's not cool. And be a bit more amenable on there, and just think with the whole social media thing, like, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what someone's life is like behind closed doors. So it's all very well sort of thinking, well, I'm just in my bedroom now, so boom, send and walk away. But that could have a profound effect on someone. So I'm trying to develop every day, trying to develop a sort of more healthier relationship with it. It's I
was going to ask, Dan, what advice would you give to young people about social media?
To not obsess about it, to not be a slave to it. It is what it is, and if you don't need to use it as a you know, as a business tool or something that you need, which is going to enhance your life in a positive way, don't be a slave to it, and certainly don't troll. You know, I've been guilty of that in the past, and I really try not to do it. I stop myself now if I think I'm going to say something which isn't cool. And it's funny, all the trolls, or a lot of them, are like user 345918567 with no profile picture, and they're sort of throwing their shade, as the kids like to say. And I just laugh and I go, says the anonymous troll, because it's just like, come on, like, what are you playing at? Yeah,
I'll be honest, Darren. I think I block more people than I actually follow on social media.
Well, I mean, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, Chris, I think that if you block someone, there is a sort of propensity for them to think, well, that's a sort of a badge of honor. I've been blocked by, I mean, I've been blocked by Piers Morgan. He blocked me quite early on. Oh God, yeah. I've been blocked by, who's that arsehole on GB News? Dan Wooten, despicable man. He blocked me. So, you know, I've been blocked by a few. I'm not blocked by those two, but, you know, I was just like, they're nasty people anyway, so fuck them.
He's off again. He's off again. Darren, we're now on question 20, would you believe? Wow. And I feel like there's so much more I need to ask you, so we should do this again. But if Spurs no longer existed and you had to choose to support one of the following three clubs, who would it be? Manchester City, Manchester United, or Liverpool?
Not Manchester City. It would probably be either Liverpool or United, because they've got a bit of history and a bit of, I think, well, that's a good question. See, they were two massive clubs for me growing up. It sort of takes me back to being a boy, you know, and I have to think, well, sort of, what's my relationship with those clubs? Probably Liverpool, actually. Probably Liverpool, just because when I was growing up, it was Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish and oh God, who was the other one with the moustache and the hair?
Souness.
No. Yes, Souness and John Keegan. Yeah, all these. Oh, I can see him. He's going to kick me. Yeah, all these people that were that sort of were thereabouts when I was a little boy. So probably probably Liverpool. They've got a bit of history. They've got a bit of DNA. You know, something about them. Yeah, respect clubs with a bit of, you know, with a bit of history and a way of playing and an ethos. Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to talk about?
No, it's been fascinating. Thank you for not grilling me too much. I've got a list of things by the side of me that I sort of prepped. I thought he's going to ask me about this. He's going to.
Like what? Like
Well,
what?
I don't know, just different players. And my memory, you see, all I've ever supported is Spurs, but I don't have the recall that a lot of our mates and our colleagues have. Like, it genuinely, and I'm not just saying it, blows me away that Crackers and Lee and Ricky have just, and yourself, and have just got this recall. Like, I can watch a game and go, oh, wow, you know, so-and-so scored, it was 3-2 and then in extra time. And then as soon as I turn the TV off, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gone. And so, you know, I do sort of feel the pressure a little bit when it comes to things like this, because I just don't have that, things don't stick. Yeah.
No, today was learning a little bit more about you, Darren, but what are you up to at the moment? And another question for you. What's the best company that you've ever worked for and the best job you've had?
Oh, it's a good question. So I'm just I'm doing my voiceover, so I'm busy in the studio. If you watched this morning, all the new cookery sections, it's me saying something like cooking on this morning, sponsored by Hellman's. That's me. I do all the team sport indoor karting adverts across Heart, Capital, Talk Sport. Quite interesting, actually. It was more or less the same script, but for Heart, it was, because it's listened to by women, it was a bit more team sport, indoor karting, the family adventure. And then for Capital, it was a bit more team sport, indoor karting for a bit of a youth, gritty audience. And then for Talk Sport, it was team sport, indoor karting, the thrill of the life. So we had to sort of have a sliding scale of grit, which was funny. I've voiced for Disney, I've voiced for Netflix, Sky, Sky Sports News, sponsored by Saddlin. I've done BT Sports, tennis.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done a lot of what they call sponsorship bumpers. Those you know, sponsorship ads.
Yeah.
It's so varied. I can do some really fun stuff. I've just done, this is going to sound like, I can't really talk about it. Like, I've done some work for a big animation company where I got to do 2 hours with the head guy. And I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I can't say what it is because I signed one of those NDAs, but a huge animation company. That was a privilege. And yeah, just doing that, doing my impressions. Thrilled to be with you and your show when you asked me. So yeah, just sort of at it, really. It's not all showbiz, like I said. You know, I get to do some good stuff, and then I just get to voice, you know, a corporate video on a Dutch haulage company. So
Darren, have you done any voiceover work for any football clubs?
Yes, I did. I did a voiceover for Ajax when Edwin van der Sar re-signed his contract, and it was a really clever. If I've got it, I'll send it to you, and you can stick it on social media or something. It was a really clever, funny advert with him riding on a horse, and I had to do the like the sort of nestle up to the mic and say, Edwin van der Sar, and to give it that sort of, you know, that really sexy voiceover voice, and then it cuts to him. But that was fun. So I voiced for Ajax. What else have I done? I've done rugby games. I've done announcing the half-time and the full-time for was it Carl Shulton, whatever their local team is. Yeah, for charity matches. So yeah, be good to do the Spurs, wouldn't it? You know,
it would. Have you ever used your impressions for any personal gain? Obviously not for, you know, for payment for jobs, but I mean for personal gain.
I mean, I have done prank calls where I've rung up and said, hello, yeah, now this is Lord Sugar. I'd like a table for two. please, like not by the bleeding window, okay? And I want, you know, nice glass of complimentary wine on the house, yeah, yeah, and with respect, yeah. See you at 8. So I have, but that's just me dicking about.
Darren, there's a question here. If you had the choice, which character would you like to do a voiceover for that you haven't already done?
I'll be good to do something on Family Guy, wouldn't it? That'd be amazing. Or The Simpsons. Yes, fat man. Be good to do Stewie. Hey there, Lois. That'd be funny. Yeah. Or Professor Fig. Professor Fig. He makes you laugh. He makes you think with the fly with all the guy. Yeah. No, you may not have that comic. That is a limited edition 113. Worst day ever. That'd be good. Simpsons or Family Guy. Darren's favorite film. I like stuff like Airplane, you know, stupid stuff like that. Things that you can just absolutely belly laugh. Yeah, that's my sort of humor. Yeah. What about you, Chris? What's your favorite film?
Well, I was going to say, I can imagine someone like you watching Mr. Bean and laughing.
Oh, Mr. Bean, yes. You have to go right at the back of your throat when you're doing that, yes. It almost sounds very constricted when you have to do Mr. Bean, yes. Almost unrecognizable.
Darren, last question for you. When are the trophies coming at Tottenham?
If we can get a manager that plays forward-thinking, attacking football, which we haven't had in our last 1, 2, 3 managers. You have to look back to Poch, and he hasn't been there for 4 years. So as long as we play this, what would you call it, reactive football instead of proactive, you know, sit back, don't do anything for 45 minutes and then try and hit them on the break in the second half. You know, yes, it can be exciting. You know, we've seen some amazing goals with Son and Kane linking up from deep, and goals on the break, which, you know, you go, wow, you know, they're running forward, but that's not what we're about. Surely we're about, and I know all teams would want to say this, a bit of flair, a bit of attacking, you know, get the ball forward, all this tippy tapping side to side at the back. As long as we've got a manager that is prepared to keep that style of play, then we won't win a thing. Whether it's, you know, whether it's Poch, whether it's Nagelsmann, whether it's Enrique, whoever we get, whether it's De Zerbi, they've got to have an attacking style of play where we're forward thinking. Otherwise, you're right, we won't win anything.
So give me a year.
Not this season, clearly, and maybe not next season, because it'll be maybe in 2 or 3 seasons' time. I hate to say it, because we need to start from scratch and get rid of the dead wood and build up and regain that confidence. Regain that confidence. That word Spursy is an awful word. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible word. And, you know, we don't like it as Spurs fans, but there's an element of truth in it. And as soon as we kick that Spursiness out, you know, we won't progress.
Darren, I know I said that as the last question, but I've got to ask you, who is your favourite person to impersonate?
Well, I do a lot of Boris, or I did a lot of Boris, and a lot of sort of Gordon Ramsay and a lot of Jeremy Clarkson, because there's always sort of car companies that want me to the new Mazda Sport Turbo and all of that, and you know, but I think one of the most satisfying has to be because it's the way the teeth are sort of, people think that Chris Eubank has a lisp, but that's a lisp, and he doesn't. It's the way the tongue sort of sits behind the mouth, and then you have to, you know, I'm a pugilist, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter, and if you will step to me, then, you know, I don't swear, but suffice to say, it's really satisfying to do. Yeah, it's satisfying. Yeah, suffice
I've got to say, actually, while we're on the stream, we went out for dinner at the Spurs Stadium some time ago, and they got the bill wrong. And when the waiter come over, you started doing the voice of Peter Dixon, and the guy thought it was absolutely hilarious, as we all did, and we were all laughing. Do you get that a lot when you're out? Do you start doing impersonations like at any time?
Well, I mean, I don't turn. It's not like a party piece. I don't sort of, you know, say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please, can I have the bill?" I mean,
that's exactly what you did.
I was at Spurs. On the other week, and one of the stewards came up to me, a guy in his jacket and his suit and tie. He went, "Excuse me, mate." He said, "You're that guy, aren't you, from TikTok, Britain's Got Talent?" And I said, "Yes." And then a couple of his friends came round, and I was with my cousin, and we'd had about 3 or 4 pints by then. And he said, "Go on, can you do him? Can you do him?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "He's got this sort of constricted." So they were laughing, we were laughing. So you can have fun with it, but you know, I mean, it's a bit of a party piece, isn't it? Really.
Well, it was funny that evening we were, of course, with Gary and Ricky Norwood, and you were doing impersonations of them.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, I remember that story back in the day, you know, bro. Listen, bro, you know, when I went to Watford, bro, and yeah, you know, I love getting my kit off, you know, bloody hell, you know, being a posing pouch, yeah, well, you listen, bro, you know, and everything like that. When I was having cotton, you know, bro, I'm telling you, no, I don't really do that. It's a bit of a gimmick.
Darren, I've absolutely loved having you on. Thank you so much. And
Spurs 60-second update today. We have the Spurs 60. You've got something sort of slightly going on with your mouth when you, sir, and that's 59-60. Come on, you Spurs.
That's it. Do I really sound that boring?
No.
Darren, you've got a YouTube channel. You're on TikTok. You're on Instagram. You're on Twitter. Tell us where we can find you.
Twitter's at Darren Altman on one word. I think it's the same with TikTok. Instagram. Oh, I got my Instagram hacked, so I had to change it. It's like Darren Altman _VO. And yeah, I mean, if you just type in, you know, sad and lonely comedian, and I'll be all over it. Yeah. Needy comedian. Like me.
Darren, I've absolutely loved having you on. Thank you so much. And as I say, we must book that game of golf, and we must do this again soon.
There he goes, on the 18th, and that's gently, softly, catchy mousy, never up, never in, sir. There he goes.
Lovely.
Darren, thank you so much, and thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for listening. If you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment below. And if you are listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And we will see you again soon. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.